Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So we continue where we left off, where we did the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina,
We've done
part 3.
We've done part 1, part 2, part 3, and tonight is
Part 4.
And the final part.
Yes, so that's our final one, and Mike here was just telling me about how he thought there'd be a 5 and a 6 part.
No, there was talk about a 5 and a 6. I didn't say there was. You do that to me all the time, my child.
I know.
No, I said there was talk of it, but there won't be.
I'm sad to say.
As far as we're aware, it's done and dusted.
Been there, done that. Moving on.
Nothing to see here.
Yeah. Although it ended where our lead character gets killed off, and that's the end.
You should have told them that.
Well, you always do it to me.
Kill you off in a minute.
Anyway, like always in these episodes, like these TV series, we're going to just, seeing as we've already covered in part 1 of the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, who's doing what to whom, obviously, and whose characters they're portraying, and who's directed what. And it's not important who we mention directed-wise in this one, because, as you guys know, each episode is done by a different director and different writer.
Yep. So we have mentioned the actors earlier on, but Kiernan Shipka, he got the lead role as Sabrina, and she's doing a top job. And as is Miranda Otto and Lucy Davis playing her two aunts. And
we do get a cameo of the 1960s version of Helder and Zelda in the second episode. Not second episode. I mean the second last episode, I should say.
And Michelle Gomez is doing a really good job as the nasty Madam Satan, and I think Ross Lynch plays a pretty good Harvey. Chance Perdomo, he plays their cousin. Yeah, there's some other couple. Jazz Sinclair, she's doing Roz, Sabrina's friend. And there's some other people there, Tally Gabrielle, Adeline Rudolph, Richard Coyle plays the leader of the black Satanist people, Lachlan Watson, he's, she's, whatever.
Anyway, it doesn't matter at this point, because we already know these are the same characters over again.
Didn't hear the first one.
Yes.
And Gather Leatherwood plays Nicholas Scratch.
Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway,
you may carry on, Grizzly.
So the story we open as we finish the last episode of part 3. We see that Lord Blackwood is opening this egg and sort of brings forth the terrors that will sort of plague Greendale for the next couple of episodes.
Yeah.
Or a couple of months, depending on who's telling the story. So Sabrina at this point, she's feeling like the third wheel in a relationship at the moment, where both her friends are in relationships. Harvey's with Rosalind, and her friend Theo is with Robin, obviously. Who's a hobgoblin. So she's like the third wheel, and Nick is no longer on her radar, according to her, obviously. So, but it just doesn't. She tries to use the time to tries to forget about her relationship with Nick by trying to get into other relationships. There was one guy at her high school who asked her out, and another guy at the witch school that's now run by Zelda at this point.
You'll see it step in.
Yeah, and now they're worshipping at this point. What were they worshipping? Hecate. Yes.
Hecate, a female goddess.
A Greek god, I think it was, according to them. And and of course, Sabrina has also developed a twin, or not twin, more of a clone of herself, who's looking after the hell realm.
I don't think I think she might go around doing time loops and going backwards and forwards in time, trying to solve a problem. And in the end, they end up being two of her.
Yes.
Oops.
So she is using has her clone is looking after the Hell realm as the potential queen, and of course now she's using the time to be just an ordinary a high school student and witch student. Anyway.
Which student is that?
Funny. Anyway, but things are. Of course, the terrors arrive, and this is where the first terror comes into play.
They're referred to as the Eldritch Terrors, but it's sort of like, back in the Bible, they had the curses that came into Egypt with Moses. Well, something similar to that. They get there's a handful of naughty things which are going to be unleashed on Greendale.
Yes, see, a lot of terrible things start occurring. Like the first terror is darkness, and it comes in the form of some miners. Like the ones that work in the coal mine.
Harvey's dad's a miner.
Yeah, and it's really creepy, this one where they start attacking the lights in the town, and it causes a major blackout, and they have to try to destroy them. Of course, they use the light as a bit of a source of trying to trap them all. Of course, eventually they do get rid of them and fight it off, and eventually they then meet other terrors like the uninvited, and let me see, what was the other one? Oh yeah, the weird, and I think some other ones obviously in between that don't go by name.
Yeah, but the perverse. I think that's where they had a lot of alternate reality sort of stuff was thrown in there.
Yeah. The uninvited is a creepy hermit-like creature that in order to survive it is you have to invite it in.
Yeah, if you turn him away. He's been around since the beginning of time, almost, I think.
Yeah.
But if he comes to your house,
yes,
or wherever you are, you invite him in, he'll leave you alone. If you turn him away, he will destroy you. Yeah,
yes.
Pretty good.
And the weird is well, I can't really explain it. I think it's again, this creature. It takes on the form of an octopus, but I think the octopus is harboring the creature within it too, so in a way it's not, it's something like a monster within the monster, obviously, in my opinion.
So it takes over.
It kind of takes on goes into a body of a man, and it comes to Blackwood in this part he's preaching to some of the Greendale residents, including Sabrina's favorite teacher, who's now become one of his dedicated followers, because she still has memories of Sabrina and her aunts being witches, and I guess she's trying to find an outlet for her to take her
But Blackwood has convinced her that he's against the evil ones.
Oh,
and he's the head evil one.
Yes.
So got her fooled, hasn't he? Yeah.
Yes. Anyway, I don't know her full story there. And so anyway, the weird wants to possess Sabrina, because at this point, as I said before, Sabrina's feeling like she's unloved and unappreciated and feeling vulnerable.
I know how she feels.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I should mention when the uninvited creature, it comes to both Hilda's wedding. Actually, she got married to the Doctor. What's his name?
Cerberus.
Who's the coffee and bookshop owner.
Some sort of cafe or something. Bookshop. And
he dresses as a themed Dracula character.
Very nice.
And they both
drink your blood and your coffee.
Yeah, and they have a double wedding where they do a fancy wedding with the white gown and stuff, and a themed wedding where for just a private ceremony.
He dresses up as Dracula, and she dresses the bride of Frankenstein. Ooh.
Yeah, I thought it was a great. If I got married per se. I'm going to say this because I really want to do something like this one day. If I did get married, I would like to do a nice ceremony wedding with white gown stuff, and a theme wedding where everyone gets to dress up like their favorite Halloween character.
I was talking to Sarah about
but for fun.
Theme weddings that I don't know if all of you people or any of you people have seen a TV series called The Vicar of Dibley. Now, when she got married, her offsider who helps the parish, Alice. Put it together, and now the vicar, she was normal-ish, but Alice was like a maid of honour or something or other.
Yeah.
She came dressed as Doctor Who, and the Flower Girls were in Dalek robot.
Robots.
Thingies.
You could say that.
And you're right. Okay. Yeah,
Yes.
so you're very much weird people, theme weddings.
Yeah, well, as I said, I would like a normal wedding, for the for my a couple of friends in the family, and a theme wedding where we just say our favorite vows to each other and just do it as a private enjoyment.
I Invisible Man. I can just stay and watch television.
Anyway, it's just an idea in my head.
Yeah,
anyway, so moving on. So the weird is an octopus type creature that it embeds itself inside a dead man, obviously. And when Blackwood meets it, he asks, "I'll definitely be willing to get possessed by you, creature, obviously. But this creature wants Sabrina because she's vulnerable and she's powerful, and Blackwood feels offended that this creature wants her. These creatures seem to target Sabrina the most in this.
She's a mate. It's her TV show.
Apart from that, but she is powerful. She kind of.
Yeah, she's developing some nice skills. Yeah.
Yeah, but she has fought tooth and nail against all manner of supernatural creatures, the other creatures we met in part 3, the pagans, and against the devil himself and the demons.
And she's working really hard. She needs a day off.
Yes.
At least Buffy got a day off.
Anyway, they do eventually remove it after it kind of tries to cause a bit of trouble. We soon realize that they then put the demon itself inside another octopus and freezes it. Isn't that right?
That's right. They're pretty smart. So it bounced around and they got into that. It happened to that, and they froze it straight away. So cryogenics works wonderful with demons.
And of course, the uninvited, he was placed inside a yellow dollhouse of sorts and lock it with a binding spell. Anyway, moving on. So the next one is the pervert one.
The Imp of the Perverse.
Yeah,
so you can still make a bit like a monkey's paw. You can make a wish. I want to change things. I want to be this. I want to be that. Whatever.
Yeah.
And he'll give you an alternate reality out of it.
The site in question came from a trinket salesman, from Witchwise.
Not really.
And he gives it to Blackwood, and he makes a wish where he would be emperor of the world, I think.
Or something else,
But it only works inside Greendale. I think Greendale has a magical barrier around it.
Handy.
I think. Handy when you think about it, because of all the magical mysterious things that have been happening there. It's like Storybook from Once Upon a Time. There's a bit of a magical barrier around the town in that one.
There was a mean man.
I haven't seen the TV series, obviously, but it's interesting, obviously. I often think that was sort of the inspiration for where Disney started deciding to make live-action movies.
Oh, bugger that, eh?
Oh, bugger is right. Anyway, so luckily enough, Sabrina and Rosalind, who were the only ones, aside from, I think it was Agatha, who was crazy in part 3 and now in part 4 for a bit, but managed to maintain her insanity and managed to kind of her memories of the real time they were living in, obviously, and this parallel universe is, she kind of helps Rosalind and Sabrina out by assisting them, and of course the rest of the town and is like under the whole area is like one of those, a very dangerous society where the witches were the enemy number one in this case.
Yeah, bugger that.
And Blackwood is like the only solo witch I'm
not going to go into too much, but a little bit like Nazi Germany around the time of World War II. We had a Supreme Chancellor type guy there, and all the Hitler youth were in these little groups, not forced to report on everybody. That sort of thing.
Anyway, so eventually, they do get where the item, the monkey's paw thingy that they find, and it was in disguise of another black Rottweiler type dog. They seem to be always obsessed with black Rottweiler type of dogs because of
a lovely puppy.
Anyway, Sabrina was able to not destroy it. You have to wish for to return things to normal eventually. And here in the real time, Prudence was able to slice her father's head off.
Problem is, he's an immortal.
And the problem is, he's got the mark of Cain on him, which makes him he can't die.
Bugger. So
his head is literally on a silver platter at the Witch Academy.
And still won't shut up.
Yeah. Yes, he continues to... He even did a sort of a reanimate approach where he makes this dead body in a room rise and he carries it around to... to the teacher's place to get his head sewed on again.
Yeah, that was his body, I think. Yeah.
It was like that reanimator thing where the dead body rose up and carried his once head around like that. Anyway, so let me see what happens. Oh, I should mention the biggest danger or threat of the Terrors is that all their worlds, like all the different parallel universes, are kind of crash into one another.
Because since Sabrina made two of herself, it's disrupted everything.
Yeah.
It created the paradox or whatever they call it. And everything's closing in, and they'll either merge the different realities or destroy both of them.
Yeah, see, it also affects the Hell realm and the Earth realm, obviously. And
they're all going to suffer.
And every time every time the Earth and the Hell is merging, objects from
the
Earth
places bounce around,
are bouncing around. A couple of statues, a couple of stuff from Greendale seem to be zapped into different parts.
So your statues from Hell come up here, and people and stuff from up here go down to Hell. And
it's become dangerous, so it's become more noticed. Oh, I should mention the Sabrina in Hell, that's named Sabrina Morningstar, is now married to Caliban, who is become her what do you call a queen's consort? Is that the term?
The Queen's consort. This is like the Queen of England.
Exactly.
He became the Queen, and he became her husband. Does make him a king and makes him the Queen's consort.
Of course, he continues ranting and raving that he hopes to, bring hell to Earth and stuff like that, causing trouble in his wake.
Another megalomaniac.
Anyway, soon enough, I think one of the other ones is where the dead come to Greendale or come to their world. It doesn't matter whom. It turns out it's a mixture of different people. Like there is Sabrina's father, and there's also I think, let me see. Oh yeah, it was Dorcas's Agatha and Prudence's friend who got killed in part 3. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, she came back.
Yeah.
And let me think. There's also Helda's mother-in-law, who, in fact, most of these spirits that return, they come off as negative in a dark light. They come off as
attitude problem.
Some of them come off as nice, cheerful, but then you show they have dark baggage. I mean, I can understand why Helda's stepmother would. I mean, her mother-in-law would act aggressive towards, because what mother-in-law would never think their daughter-in-law would be good enough for her
and
son.
She wasn't invited to the wedding because she was dead.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Of course, that luckily enough, he doesn't. Her new husband doesn't take sides. He when he notices the danger is what dangers are in his midst, he sides with Helda and tries to lock his mother, away,
Hey, that's a good idea. Hey guys.
Funny, huh? Anyway, and of course Sabrina tries to bond with her father, but he acts so aggressive, especially the fact when he brings up the fact when Sabrina's mum went to the devil and got her pregnant, obviously.
Yeah, so her daddy wasn't her daddy.
He gets really angry, and considering the fact that he came from a period where she was still a baby when he died, she was a baby, obviously.
He said, I should have killed you when you were born. You're an abomination. Yeah, that's what something.
Yeah, and anyway, it's eventually when the thing passes, our voodoo witch, who turns out to be not just a voodoo witch, turns out she's a rare voodoo priest who from way back then.
Dr. Samadhi, which is something like I don't know. I don't know voodoo culture very well,
neither.
But she takes life and can bring and make life. Bring you back from the dead, take the dead and put in the bed. That sort of stuff.
Yeah. After the whole mishap, he eventually takes the spirits back to the dead realm, obviously, and leaves behind Zelda's her dog? What's it called? Oh yeah, a beagle.
A beagle, yeah. Like Fred Bassett,
Yeah, and of course she says her goodbyes. I think she develops a romantic interest in him or them but she kind of was shocked when she found out about his true identity. Is that right?
Sorry?
I think Zelda was upset when she found out his true identity.
Well, she thought she was a normal person, but she wasn't actually not a demon, spirit.
A spirit, a spirit that was hovering on this earth too long, and of course had a spiritual need to be there, obviously.
To help out and do things, but had to go back to where she belonged. Had work to be done.
Anyway, soon enough, let me see. Things continue to escalate. I should mention the other undead creatures that came to the earth was an old band, a heavy metal 80s band, who killed a high school student who was a prom queen to please the devil, obviously. And these guys were wanting to take on Harvey and his band, obviously, and have a battle of the bands. Originally, it was going to be a living band that was angry about Harvey and the guys.
They were put out of the way.
Yeah.
And the other guys came in. Satan's, what are they called?
I don't know. I know they have the word Satan in it, obviously. Yeah. Anyway. So they have a battle of bands right in the mines where a lot of undead people are there, obviously. You see a mixture. And Sabrina and her friends, Nick and Prudence, and I think it was Ambrose among them, who managed to blow them out of the mine by playing some really interesting music. Although Harvey manages to sing a bit better in this one.
They sing lip syncing.
Yeah, in this one they sang "Let's Do the Time Warp Again" from
Rocky Horror Show.
That was always so
really
cool.
Good, yeah.
One of my faves. It's still great, especially on Halloween.
It's astounding.
It's amazing.
Life is fleeting.
Yeah, one of my faves. It's best when you watch it on Halloween night when you think about it.
Actually, what's that the next couple of days? I haven't seen it for a while.
Yes. Anyway, they were eventually got the prom queen back, and kind of this causes them to sort of their contract between the devil and them severs, and eventually. Things, of course, the dead return to where they belong, obviously.
Go to bed.
Anyway.
Your grave is there.
Mm-hmm. Eventually, other stuff starts happening here and there. And eventually... Oh, I should mention Robin's hobgoblin friends. They also appear in the picture, telling him to come home.
Otherwise, you'll lose your power and become mortal and stuff, and you'll die young and leave a good-looking corpse.
Yeah. Of course, Theo realizes this, and she decides to let him go. But fortunately, he does come back, to save them during the Battle of the Bands, obviously. Anyway, soon enough, things are going downhill, and of course, I should mention that Madame Satan also tried to give birth to her own child in this series. She gave birth to a son, Satan's son, obviously, the devil's son, and
he gets around.
And of course, he demands his child so that he can be raised in hell properly, away from his mother. Of course. Madame Satan decides to save her son by doing the most unspeakable act, obviously, which the devil did to her with her own, her character's Adam, obviously. And so she, in turn, has her son killed and eaten, obviously. And, of course, she goes through a little bit of a grief session, especially during the ghosts coming back to Earth, where she starts hearing her baby screaming for his mum. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Eventually, this clears up eventually, and soon enough, let me see what happens. of course, they start realizing they need to figure out a way to stop this whole thing. So they send Sabrina Morningstar to the other realm that's coming to Earth realm, obviously. So it's starting. So they actually did paper, scissors, rock, obviously.
Yeah, and she lost.
And she lost.
Or won, whichever way.
I mean, of course, the devil doesn't want this. He thinks that one of them should die, or at least, I mean, according to an angel, she says, you guys either have to die or emerge into one to stop this whole thing.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a guarantee that things will still continue to go downhill, obviously. Exactly. Anyway, so... But luckily enough, they fought the angel off, and she dies, obviously. Anyway, so eventually Sabrina Morningstar goes through the Morning Glass, which is the mirror in Sabrina's room.
She walks through the mirror into the other realm, this other world, whatever. Yes. Thing.
And while this is happening, Sabrina reconciles with Nick, obviously. After so many mishaps and stuff, I think that dear old Nick still cares for Sabrina big time.
He does.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so while their things are bouncing back and forth throughout, Sabrina Morningstar confronts the realm, and there we meet the 96 version of Sabrina characters.
Teenage Witch, the sitcom.
Yeah, the old aunts, obviously, who were the funny comedy relief, comedy kind of characters.
Playing her aunts, and
it seems
life was a never-ending sitcom.
Yeah, like the old Shakespeare quote: "Life is a stage." And all that stuff, and
life's the stage. Get on the stage, leave town.
Yeah. Like Anyway, so the rest of the time, Sabrina is living on the set or sleeping on the set while eating tuna.
It's sort of like living in a soundstage. If any of you people actually been to a movie studio, a big soundstage for everything made up, and that's where they live.
Eat,
sleep. They don't go out of the soundstage. And if you try to open the door, it's a brick wall.
Yeah, and the rest of the characters...
And guess who's in charge? The cat.
It turns out it's Salem's show.
It's Salem's show. He's the head writer.
Yeah, in this one, he's a puppet. Not...
You like in Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yeah, except a little bit more... like an old puppet that looks like it's decrepit or moth-eaten. Anyway, so Sabrina tries to convey the fact of the dangers that await them, but unfortunately they just continue to play it cool throughout, saying, there's nothing wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's all, it's all part of the show, according to them. So nothing to worry about.
And the funny part is...
But Sabrina soon realizes that
of course he's not in control, is he?
Yeah, it turns out that the scripts that's the latest script, it mentions about the void, which is the biggest terror that's coming for Sabrina and his friends, which is going to be the ultimate end to worlds as we know it.
It's every time, and the way I saw it is that Salem would dictate the words that the actors would be speaking, and whatever he said that was going to be the words became reality. So if they talked about the void, then the void would become reality. If he talked about fluffy puppies, you'd have a lot of fluffy puppies there, that sort of stuff. Yeah. So whatever he said became reality.
Yeah.
There you go.
A little bit interesting, that part.
Interesting, yeah.
Anyway, so eventually, she confronts Salem, because throughout this, it was like Salem was always here and there, and of course the mirror is disappeared.
Someone took the mirror away.
Yeah.
So you blame Satan.
Yeah.
I mean, Salem. Yeah.
And of course, in this Salem's his voice in this one is black. I think it's not Blackwood. I mean, I think it's Satan's voice. It was dubbed in.
I don't know. They dubbed the voice in there for the cat. Yeah.
Anyway, when things start turning rotten on set, they soon try to escape, where the comedy Zelda and Spelman
turn out the ones actually the evil ones.
Yeah, the
coordinating
void.
The whole lot.
Yeah, and they start killing the actors and killing the the stunt doubles, or not stunt doubles,
Yeah,
they
well,
were
the acting doubles.
acting doubles, who were stand-ins, obviously, including look-alike of the other Sabrina's, and including her aunts who were...
Actually, it's really funny, the stand-in aunts in this funny other realm were the ones out of the real world. So yes,
yeah, we even get to see in
really weird.
A previous episode from part 1 that was played on that television set. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was a kind of cool approach when some people often just bring back as a bit of a to make the story flow cool. Anyway, so they quickly try to escape through the mirror, and eventually they ride back in Sabrina's room.
Yeah.
And of course...
she's hurt and damaged and she's dying now.
Yeah. Of course, Satan is annoyed and he wants to take his anger and revenge on Sabrina Spellman, even though they're both Sabrina Spellman. I mean, and Morningstar, obviously. I think he more or less doesn't buy the fact that both girls are... Same girl, obviously.
But anyway, Sabrina Morningstar is dying from her
injuries
sustained in coming back through the portal.
Yes.
And she actually dies.
Yeah. Anyway, eventually Sabrina tries to work out what one of the likely demons or the creatures they used the weird and the uninvited and the darkness thing, which one she wants to use to possibly trap this void. Hopefully, she then soon enough the peddler, the salesman arrives, and he wants the item they gave to Blackwood back.
Yeah, the perverse statue. Yes.
Yeah, so Sabrina suggests maybe a trade.
Is there anything else we can use to go against this thingy-wingy we're working on?
He suggests this box, a Pandora type box that would suck the void in, if you will.
Exactly.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a risky session, it turns out. So Sabrina using everyone's support, gets zapped into the void, and there she uses the box to zap the bits of the void away, obviously. Of course, once she's in there, her family wants to call her back because it's dangerous, obviously. So they use Sabrina's Morningstar's body as a bit of a way to bring her spirit back.
Yeah, they couldn't bring Sabrina Spellman's body back.
Because
they could bring her spirit, mind, everything back, but they needed the vehicle.
Yeah, see, she kind of blocked off the mirror, after she got to that. Concreted it with, because she knew the dangers, but luckily enough, Sam was able to tell it to Ambrose and tell him the big bad news, and so eventually they use the Morningstar's body and bring her back. And of course, at this time, she's going to celebrate her 17th birthday. Last time, in part 1, was her
16th birthday. Yeah. That's when she became a full witch.
Yes.
Coming of age party.
Of course, on the day of question, when she's celebrating her 17th birthday, things start disappearing. And we realized that when she was stuck in the void, zapping it all away, she has a part of the void still in her, which will kind of continue to develop, and she hasn't stopped it technically, in other words.
Not totally, no.
Yeah, and soon enough she sends she sends some demons that Calibos sent, and let me see who else he sent. He also sent some miners who were possessed by the demons, obviously. And let me see, she also sends back, I think it was Rosalind, and she's starting to develop a mental breakdown at this point in time, obviously. And then she quickly tries to I guess she kind of goes away for a bit, because she's starting to realize that she's a danger to everyone. So she finds Blackwood, and he offers to help her, even though we know Blackwood is not to be trusted. I should mention at this point, he has got his head sewed back on.
Very nice.
Yeah. I keep thinking why he's kids don't seem to have very much acting role in this. I wouldn't mind if they did.
They weren't supposed to. The main ones were Sabrina, and
I suppose.
Harvey and Roz and stuff. Yeah.
It seems like they more or less became co-stars or extras.
Well, yeah, they couldn't give me anything to do, otherwise it get complicated.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, carry on.
Anyway, so he makes this bit of a shrine, or not really shrine. It's more of it would be a shrine when you think about it, to Sabrina in the Void, and of course, her friends like Ambrose, Agatha's regained her sanity at this point, and Prudence, and I think it was Rosalind that was still around. I think Theo went off to the realm somewhere. Anyway, so soon enough they arrive there, and of course during their talk to her, Rosalind gets stabbed, obviously, and she tells them to get away, obviously, and of course come back in, say, a couple of days or so. Anyway, soon enough, they do eventually. Let's see what happens next. She soon eventually decides to help them, obviously, and tells them about Blackwood's plan of trying to get the Void out of her so he can become the Void.
Exactly.
He has a very one of those eerie, sense of wanting the power and stuff. At this point, I think he's lost his marbles.
Oh yeah, he never had them. Yeah.
Anyway, soon enough, when they do give him the box containing the remainings of the Void, that Nick went back to the dead Sabrina that was at the Void, trying to lock it all in this Pandora box. He manages to get it back using a special breathing apparatus that Ambrose developed. But this Void is it's a fake Void. It turns out there's gunpowder, which kind of broke both of Blackwood's eyeballs out.
Yeah, they made a fake box. Yeah, blow his eyes out. So he's blind now.
Yeah. Anyway, he deserves the creep.
Bugger.
Anyway, they decide Sabrina comes up with a plan to use her blood that has the Void inside it to summon the people beyond the it develops. They kind of have a gateway that will allow them to get her friends and his dad back from the Void. So they quickly, using a knife, drain her blood, and of course the blood's white.
Yeah, because it's a Void.
Yes.
There's nothing inside it, so her blood starts up at red and then becomes like a white milky colour.
Well, it starts off as white, and then when it pours into the whatever, and eventually after it starts draining out of her, we start seeing flashbacks to her past. And while this is happening, her remaining friends, they tie some ropes around themselves and they go into it like a little bit like a Stargate.
Yeah, but like they had a rope on them so wouldn't get lost.
While they go inside there.
They did them poltergeist too, didn't they? Mm-hmm. They walk through you get the little girl? Yeah.
Anyway, while this is happening, Serena and her aunt stay behind to watch her life drain away
Literally.
And she begins flashbacking to her first 16 other birthdays she had throughout the years.
They got a little cute little baby, and a bit older, and a bit older, and a bit older. Yeah.
Of course, she bids her final farewell to her life, to her friends, to her aunts, and to Greendale, and soon enough, eventually her friends and their families, they return from the Void, obviously, and Sabrina's blood soon turns a reddish color, meaning indicating that she has died from it. And
she's dead.
Soon enough, she's dead, and they have a funeral, or two funerals, for both Sabrina Spellman and Sabrina Morningstar. And both aunts wish their goodbyes, and they make a new statue at the Academy of her. In the past, it started off with Lucifer, and then Blackwood, and let me see, Haggerty, and now Sabrina.
Yeah.
And of course, Helda decides that she and her new husband will move back in with Zelda just to to keep her company.
Because Zelda's a bit lonely and stuff.
Yeah. She has Ambrose, obviously.
But not the same thing.
And of course, Prudence takes her final revenge on her father, who's now blind, but he could still cause trouble because a blind person can.
She takes care of Daddy in a big way.
Yeah, she saws off his limbs and plans on sending them all across the globe.
Yep.
Hoping that his evil will end.
So he's mad, he's just gone to pieces.
And Madame Satan, she took her revenge on Satan himself by having the spear that killed Jesus Christ and sort of slices into him. And of course, she drinks the blood from his body and gaining her the power.
Her powers back, wasn't it?
Her powers back. And making her what she always wanted to be, the queen of hell. And there she, using her newfound power, she turns Satan into human. So to wander the earth as a human. And later on we see Sabrina in the afterlife.
Yes, in some sort of nice little room. There's some artwork on the walls.
And while she's sitting reading, we see Nick appear and tells her that he took his own life and he's now going to stay with her.
He drowned in the sea of sorrows.
Yes.
He didn't actually say killed himself. He went for a swim in it, and I was just so bitterly upset and everything. He died. He drowned.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that's the end of part 4. So.
And then they kiss, and they're going to live together forever and ever and ever in
heaven or the afterlife.
In the afterlife. However, end of story there. Now, when I was talking to Sarah about it the other day, I didn't know why they didn't rejuvenate her, like in Reanimate it.
I know.
Now, because early in the movie, in the TV show, Zelda killed Hilda a couple of times, and she'd been buried out in the graveyard there, and about a day later or 2 days later, she'd come back to life.
And they did the same thing with one of Prudence's friends, I think it was Dorcas, where they buried her in the...
And
brought her back.
But I got the impression that maybe because with Sabrina, all her blood was also drained out, so she would not have been a full person.
And not to mention the Sabrina that was in the void, she was frozen to death and died there, which could and
a bit complicated.
And that would have been too long for her to even get into the ground, and the fact her spirit would have been long gone.
Yeah, well,
but then again, both Sabrinas occupied the same spirit, in my opinion.
Yeah, possibly. That's probably might have split it. Yeah, I don't know, but I think it's probably what it wasn't feasible to bring her back.
Yeah.
Now,
anyway,
having said that, there was some talks about sequels, but they can't have a sequel about Sabrina if Sabrina doesn't live anymore. She is dead.
Although there has been, I remember when they did Buffy the Vampire Slayer, there was a season. I think it was season 5 where Buffy ended up dead, but then they resurrected her, using a resurrection spell.
Right at the end of it, didn't her little town disappear in a big hole in the ground? It became Hell's Gate?
No.
And the same as the end of Angel. They went out for the final battle against evil.
Yeah, we never got that.
And they all went out to battle evil, and hopefully they were going to win. That was it. So you had a good end. What's going to happen? Who knows?
Yeah, anyway, so I did feel a little bit sad that this one ended this way, obviously, but I guess that...
I'm glad it did, actually, because, I mean, if it went on forever and ever and ever, like...
Supernatural. That would probably... that went on for a couple of years.
The Walking Dead, that went on to me a little bit too long, because I was getting a little bit bored by waiting for the end of it.
I don't know how
and they've done sequels and spin-offs and what.
I don't know how such a story, especially that deals with zombies, would continue a story.
It's interesting, but it's getting to say they're trying to stretch the storylines out and add something else to it and some human elements in and so on. They're clutching at straws in the end, I think. Yeah. So it's good to have a nice ending when it's still strong. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
I mean, it does take, if it's all about the whole world is conquered by zombies, there's no going back to the past, there's no rewind button. Maybe there is, I don't know.
Who said that we're not surrounded by zombies? Look at all the politicians, eh?
Well, look at the song. All you zombies on your faces.
People in the street. Yeah, well, there you go. Then.
Well,
see, they even sung about it a couple of years ago.
Yeah, they did. Anyway, it's an okay.
I like it. We've been given 9.5. It's a good series.
Yeah. I mean, I like a series that doesn't go long, but I like it if it had a good positive ending.
It needs to be full, a good ending.
Yeah.
Like we talk about things like the old shows like Time Tunnel and Land of the Giants. They just didn't renew the series, which means there's no real closure. Lost in Space, they're still up there somewhere.
That's another thing. This movie didn't offer an explanation to Theo how she was able to see her great aunt. I kept thinking that in season 4 or part 4 or part 3, it would give us a bigger explanation.
I think it was of witchcraft because wasn't her great grandmother or whatever she was had something to do with protecting the witches.
Yeah, and the same with Rosalind's. As it turns out in this one,
we found Rosalind wasn't actually
isn't cunning, but or whatever they call it, or soothsayer.
She was like her old grandma said, "Oh, we were cursed by witches and given a skill called the cunning, which is like be able to see things."
Yeah.
But during the season, we found out that actually her mother was a witch, and because if you said, "Hey, you're a witch," it would have been
you'd be prosecuted.
You would have been executed, something or other. So they said it's easy to say, give it a different name. So the cunning was a skill they had, but they're actually witches.
Yes. Yes.
Ros didn't know she's a witch. Which witch is this?
Yeah.
Ros the witch.
And for a time, she was worried for a bit that how Harvey will react. He broke up with Sabrina when she admitted that she was a witch. Yeah. But a couple of times she has kind of cast a spell trying to make him, give a memory lapse.
So he doesn't remember all these the funny bits.
Yeah.
Bits.
There's also been mentioned online a lot that Harvey has this witch hunter's power, but I have not seen it. I kept thinking it would show up, but I didn't see it.
He was no witch hunter. He was not Van Helsing. He was a nothing. So he was just a nice boyfriend trying to help out everybody.
Yeah. The other thing that really puts me tries to think that's no conclusion completely, was the fact that Sabrina's teacher, who believed in Blackwood, never found out the fact that Blackwood was a sinister warlock with his own evil intentions.
Yeah. So anyway, it doesn't matter.
Like he was just doing it all so he could.
Silver's turd.
Yes, and how she continued to preach his good
the gospel
sermon.
According to Blackwood.
Yeah. And all that stuff. And I got to admit, I did like the fact when Madame Satan got her revenge on Satan by killing him. Oh, not really killing him. Actually, she made him suffer as she suffered.
Yes, somewhat. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Anyway.
So don't tell them everything.
Well, it's pretty much covered.
Let them actually find some things out for themselves.
Yeah. I think I'm going to rate this now because we're running out of time. I think I'd like to rate it 9.5 out of 10 like I did with the others.
I've been 9 to 9.5 all the way through. It's a good series. So, yeah, and I've said before how to get it, but I'll go again. It's available on eBay. It's on Amazon. You can rent it or buy it. So it's probably on some other streaming sites as well, I would say. So, yeah, it's around. You can get it. And it's a good look.
Good watch.
It's fun. If you like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel, take that sort of thing, but make it a bit more serious. Mm-hmm. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool, especially the fact I thought it was a bit kind of cool that in the final second episode we got to see the original Sabrina's aunts, obviously, from the 90s, obviously. Yeah, that'd be amazing. And they seemed very funny, and of course, it was a bit sad.
I always liked those two ladies. I always liked Zelda. She was
Hilda's funny. One. And Hilda's funny and hilarious.
Hilda was really just a card.
Yeah, even though the ones in Chilling Adventures, they were pretty funny. I mean, in their own different way. No, I mean, both of them had they both of them played out the roles to the way the directors and writers want them to act.
I think when you get a good series, and I mean a good series,
Okay.
This is a good series. And they choose the right actors to fill a role. Okay, we want a cute little teenage girl who is nice and bright and bubbly and different. And they find someone like Kiernan Shipka. She's great. She's really sweet and nice and wonderful. But it's great. And the aunts are.
She has an Archie comic type look to her. Is what I'm saying.
But Miranda Otto, I like her. Yes,
she was sinister.
And
you can.
All the other people they had in there, so good. It's they all worked really hard to make these roles come to life, and they did. So
I think Zelda and Madam Satan, they were the most interesting of characters aside from Sabrina.
Satan, that was what's her name? Something. What's Spanish name? Was it?
I think they were both interesting.
Oh, yeah, Michelle Gomez. Yeah. She's a good actress. Yeah.
Yeah, they both were very interesting. Like, I like it that she had that interesting look about her.
She went from a nice little mousy type school mistress to Madam Mistress of the Dark.
Yeah.
Sorry, Elvira. But
Well, she reminds me a mixture of a vampire type.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it's her
dark
hair.
side came out quite nicely. Her hair looked quite well.
I think it was the hair that caught my eye the most.
A very attractive lady, but she had the touch of evil look about her, so when it came out, which is good.
And I liked it. That. And I like the fact that she felt a little, despite gaining her powers of being Queen of Hell again, I think she felt a little sad about that Sabrina's life was at the was in the middle of it. Died in the cause of.
Anyway, you want to kill us now?
Yeah. So you know where to find it, and you know our thoughts about it. So it's now up to you guys to actually sit down and watch the thing. So that's about it from us, guys. I'll let you guys know what we're going to be reviewing next time. I hope to.
It's not going to be SpongeBob, is it?
No.
Okay.
But I promise you guys, we will probably look at another some movies to keep you interested.
Well, we've done a TV series, so let's get back into some movies. Something to get your teeth into.
Yeah, and hopefully we might see if we can find some Halloween ones before Halloween starts.
Well, we're a few weeks ahead here, so we would be coming on to Halloween period. We're coming up to we're at the beginning of September now, so it's probably at least about the middle of September.
And we might as well get the ball rolling with the fact that Mike here, he's going on holidays with my niece and nephew.
Only for 2 days.
I know. I'm just saying that...
I'm testing them because I want to do a big holiday next year. He's 7 and she's 9. I want to see how they're going to be. A local trip and staying in a motel for 2 nights. And if they're okay, they don't take them a bigger trip for a week. Yeah.
So so we need to get the ball rolling, as it were, as Mike would put it, to get as many movies we can to review on this channel quickly.
At least 2, that keeps us floating. If we do 3 a week, then we get a couple up our sleeve.
Because if I did it on my own, I don't think I could.
Boring. Then you got no one to stop her.
I think I would not fully understand how to adjust the audio equipment.
No, so I got an 8-channel mixing desk here and other things. I got lots of good groovy little thingies, and and she doesn't know how to set it up properly.
All right.
She needs me.
Yeah. So that's about it from us, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode.
Episode?
Yeah. Well, it is an episode.
Season.
It's a podcast.
This episode. Oh, yeah.
Episode to our podcast.
Sorry.
So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I hope you guys will see us for the next one. So.
I hope so.
So have a good week, everyone. And this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now, and have a good week.
Bye, guys.